story of Peyton Place. Starring Ed Nelson as Michael Rossi, Barbara Parkins as Betty Anderson, Christopher Connolly as Norman Harrington, Patricia Morrow as Rita Harrington, James Douglas as Stephen Cord, Elizabeth Walker as Carolyn Russell, Percy Rodriguez as Harry Miles, and also starring Barbara Rush as Marsha Russell.
Dr. Michael Rossi had planned to marry Marsha Russell on this day. But the death of Marsha's former husband, Fred Russell, and the arrest of Michael Rossi, charged with his murder, has demolished those plans. The evidence against Michael Rossi is highly circumstantial. And to Marsha, and most of the residents of Peyton Place, it is a combination of events which simply put Michael Rossi in the wrong place at the wrong time. Be that as it may, Michael Rossi is today facing a very different kind of life sentence than the one he had hoped a judge would pronounce for him and Marsha.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Listen, it's awfully early in the morning for visitors. And why are you here, Mrs. Russell?
Oh, I had an irresistible urge to see you
Oh, very nice.
and kiss you
Oh, nice.
and hug you
And more?
and tell you about some plans that I've made.
Oh?
Mm-hmm.
So, all this nice little sweetery at the gates there is just to soften up the hardened convict, is it?
Now, these plans are subject to your approval, of course.
Well, that's a very good start.
Yes. You see, I've decided that I cannot wait another minute. I want to marry you right away.
I accept.
I mean tonight.
Oh, I still accept.
Now, Stephen says that the hearing won't take very long.
Well, Stephen is always right.
Yes. So, as soon as the judge dismisses the charges, I will pick you up here, and we will go to your place where you will pack a bag.
Oh, and spend 20 minutes in the shower, which I promised myself.
I will allow you 30 minutes.
I take it.
Then we will proceed to my place where we will have dinner, you and Carolyn and me. And then we will drive to Owens Ridge. Well, what do you think of it? The Russell plan?
That's good.
What's the matter?
Well, you know, this is a hearing. It's not a trial, which means, of course, that all the prosecutor has to do is show that there's evidence I was involved in Fred's death. Of course, anyone can come up and show a motive concerning that. So, in fact, the judge can bind me over for trial.
But Stephen says that...
Stephen says that's what he's supposed to say. That's his job to say things like that.
Don't scare me. Don't do that. Because it won't happen that way. It can't happen that way.
All right. All right. I like the Russell plan a lot better. I do.
Oh, look, here comes your breakfast.
Oh, joy. You'll have to leave now, Mrs. Russell.
Oh, all right.
Somehow I don't like the idea of trading you in for a couple of pieces of toast.
It isn't fair. I will see you shortly, my darling.
Morning, Eli.
Morning, my dear. I thought I could keep busy till the hearing, but
I couldn't.
Come on inside. I got some hot cereal for you.
I went to the store to try to take inventory, but I couldn't concentrate. Found myself looking across the green to the courthouse, trying to think of what Doc Rossi must have going through his mind.
Why didn't you call me earlier? I still get up with the chickens.
I didn't feel like barging in at all, not in my mood.
Now you listen to me, Eli Carson. If we're going to be Mr. and Mrs., we've got to share the good and the bad.
Thank you, Maggie. It's good having someone to talk things over with.
Would you like me to mind the store while you're in the courthouse? I'd be glad to.
No, it's closed, and it's going to stay closed. I want the whole town to know how I feel about Dr. Rossi. Imagine a man like that, locking him up like a common criminal.
Did you eat any breakfast?
I went to the cider barrel for a cup of coffee, but I took 2 sips and I walked out. The way the men were talking in there, imagine making wagers on the outcome of the hearing.
Well, Eli, it's only natural that there'd be talk.
Only natural, my eye. At least 2 of those men wouldn't be wagging their jaws at all if it wasn't for Dr. Rossi.
Well, just because they're talking, that doesn't mean that they're glad to see Dr. Rossi in trouble.
Oh, Maggie, I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry at all.
It's not going to do him any good for you to sit all the way through the hearing on an empty stomach. I'm going to get you some sugar.
I spent the whole night tossing and turning.
What?
Nothing.
It wasn't nothing. It was something.
I spent the whole night tossing and turning, thinking about my son.
Oh, Eli, just because it happened to your son, that doesn't mean that it's going to happen to your friend. Lightning doesn't strike twice.
No, Maggie, it's the same kind of a case. Elliot was a victim of circumstantial evidence, and Dr. Rossi is the same. My son spent 18 years in jail because he was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
That's over and done with.
When you've put a man away for 18 years, just because the governor comes in and says, "Excuse me, I was wrong, I didn't mean it," that doesn't mean it's over and done with.
Maybe you shouldn't go to the hearing at all.
Oh, what are you talking about?
You could keep the store closed, but I think it might be better if you just did your inventory and didn't go to the courthouse at all.
No, I'm going. I've known Michael Rossi ever since he came to this town.
Then do you think you could work a mite on your expression? Because I don't think it's going to be much of a comfort to him to see you sitting there with that long face.
Maggie, it's the only face I've got. And I'm certainly not going to go in there with a grin on it from ear to ear.
You've got a good face, Eli. It's strong and it's kind. And it shows your feelings. Your true feelings. And there's nothing wrong with that. But just make sure that Dr. Rossi sees your faith in him. Not your bitterness. Not your worry.
I'll try. Now, I think I'd better get started.
Well, I suppose if you must go, it's well for you to get there early and get down in front and have a seat as close to the defense table as you can.
Morning, Doc. Coffee?
Yeah, that'll get it.
Anything else?
No, that's fine.
Say, Doc, can I ask you a question?
Now, if it's about the hearing, Charlie. Uh-huh.
I get it. Here comes Lou.
Thanks, Charlie. Good morning, Charlie.
Morning, Lou.
Morning, Dad.
Morning, Lou.
I heard you leaving this morning.
Oh? I tried to be as quiet as I could.
Yeah, well, I knew you were going to take a walk before you went to the courthouse.
I don't know what happened. I just woke up, couldn't get back to sleep, so I just decided to take a walk.
Guess you thought you'd duck me then,
Hmm? Back on that, huh?
huh? Yeah, I'm back on that.
Well, let's not argue about it. Would you like some coffee?
I've got a lot to say, Dad.
We had our little talk in the hospital, Lou.
I'm not buying that.
Your privilege, free expression, democracy, you know.
You mean the country's a democracy, but the Miles family, that's something else. That's a kingdom, and you're the king, and what you say goes, right?
Pretty fresh talk for a 17-year-old.
Dad, can we drop that whole thing about your age and my age? I know you're my dad, and I know what that means. So when you tell me that there's nothing left between us...
I didn't say that.
Dad, you're being technical. All right, I said it, but you didn't disagree, right? Now, I know it may be too late, and I know you don't care, and I know you took that detective's report and burned it without looking at it. But I'm going to tell you anyway. In New York, I was riding in a car, and the driver of the car was a guy named Larry. Vicky was with us, with him. And we ran a man down. A white man. Yes, and that man was in a coma for a long time. As a matter of fact, he just came out of it a little while ago. We didn't stop that. We kept right on going. And I didn't say anything because I was scared. Because I kept thinking of your position.
This Larry, he's the father of Vicky's child, isn't he?
Right.
Is that what you waited so long to tell me, Lou? What's wrong? You think I'm so far out of it I couldn't understand?
Dad, to tell you about that accident was to tell you about how I felt about everything. Don't you think I realize who you are? Don't you think I know that you're one of a half-dozen black neurosurgeons in this entire country? You made it through. How many black people do that anywhere?
That's all I ever wanted for you and Cliff. Make it through. Help you make men of yourselves.
I felt trapped. I saw what it was like to be black. I mean, really black. And I thought that we were wrong living in this white place. But how do you tell a man as big as you are that he's wrong?
Well, I certainly didn't mean to be that big to my own boy. If I was, I'm sorry. Sorry. I think I'd like a few minutes to myself, Lou.
See you at home?
Mm-hmm.
You and me and you?
Yeah. Me and you, son.
Morning, Sergeant.
Morning.
Morning.
I dropped by your place. Your wife said you probably were out taking a walk. I just hung up the phone on that private detective in New York. He said he hadn't heard from you.
That's right. I'll be in touch with him. Don't worry about it.
We'll get in touch with him right away. A man by the name of Larry Burroughs named Lew was the driver in that felony hit and run. A warrant is being made out for Lew's arrest.
You won't run away, Sergeant.